Everyone, or no one, or just myself. I am just making this video log for my benefit, maybe for somebody else's benefit, but I just kind of wanted to do a YouTube channel that kind of just went over all the benefits of gardening, but more importantly, gardening in your front yard. So a lot of the times we don't have the space to garden or homestead, or we have all these big dreams and ambitions, and maybe we don't have the property or the time or the money or the patience to do all this stuff, and we have no idea what we're doing. So I just kind of wanted to start this journey with you. It might just be my own journey to kind of see where I've come and where I'm going, but also to hopefully inspire and help others that might not be starting their journey right now because they have challenges in their way. Maybe they think it's all about their timing and they're waiting for their next big property. Maybe you're in a rental, etc., etc. But you can do it now. And so I just kind of want to give you a quick little tour of my front yard garden. What I've got going on right now, it's a little bit of a chaotic mess, but it's also well thought out, and I have a lot of beautiful things that I love growing here. And you can see that I'm in my front yard. I've got cars driving by. I live on the corner with a stop sign, so I get a lot of traffic. I don't have an HOA, which is great, but you know, you can do a lot. And my backyard is very shady, so that's why I can't normally do things in my backyard. But you know, if you're wanting to put a garden out in your front yard, but you're worried about your neighbors, or really I just worried a lot about my neighbors, like what they might think, you know, because it's not for everybody, but I think you can make it look nice, and you just got to do what's best for you sometimes. So there have been so many neighbors when I started this journey. I moved in and literally just started building my raised bed boxes that I had bought at our rental, and I was just waiting. So so many people stopped by while I was doing this. Like, we literally barely moved in, and I'm already getting soil delivered to our house to fill these with. And so many people stopped by and they were so excited. Like, they were really enjoying watching the process. We get a lot of walkers. It's just become kind of a community thing because I live on a circle. So, I mean, you're gonna have some people that inevitably are not gonna be happy for one reason or another. Like, if they eat food, I don't know how they would have a problem with it. But anyways, you're gonna have those people, and you just need to shrug them off your shoulders, because as long as you're staying within the limits of what you can do in your community and you're not harming anybody, then just do it if it makes you happy, and if it feeds your family and it feeds your neighbors. That's all that's important. I also will go over, I don't know, I have all these ideas I want to teach you guys, and I'm hopefully thinking that you'll be able to teach me a lot too, because I fail a lot, but that's sometimes the best way to learn, like, how to do things. So we also have chickens here. We might be getting bunnies, maybe. That would be a new endeavor, but I just have a lot of things I want to do and I think I can do, and there's a lot of things that you can do too where you live, whether you have a balcony or an acre. So I'm gonna give you some views of my garden, go through some stuff, and then follow me, because I would love your support. I would love to hear from you about your front yard gardens or tips you might have, or just, I'll be looking for ideas too, because I still have a lot of ground and things I want to do, especially when it comes to like fruit and orchards and berries, because honestly, that's what my kids are going to eat the most. Here, I'll show you some of my garden and we'll just get into it that way. So I live in Southwest Missouri. We just moved here from Indiana, and we just bought this property, I believe, in April. And so when we first bought this property, it's really like not even, maybe it's like 0.3 acres, and it has a nice backyard, but it's all shade. And so I knew when we bought this property that I was probably going to be gardening in the front yard. And I'm obviously surrounded by Lots of neighbors, a good amount of traffic. But with that, I thought, you know, this is gonna be fun because I hopefully can inspire others to do similar things in their front yards. Or I love having all the kids come by and they're always wanting to taste everything. So this is just the beginning. I've got 4 raised beds. You can see they're 4 by 8. And I bought those off of Amazon. Eventually, if I could figure out links and stuff, I will try and get those on there. But that's kind of the main thing I bought for these. I used a lot of things I had. I found these old wooden trellises in the backyard. And anyways, let me show you what's growing. Okay, so I apologize if any of this is a little shaky as I'm just kind of walking around. And it's a little bit of an untidy mess because we've been gone for the last 10 days. And so everything just kind of took over in a wonderful way. So I am a big proponent of intensive gardening. So in each one of these beds, I planted 10 tomato plants. And the reason I did that was because my plan was to prune them to one stem where they trellis up the top. But as you can see, I also have a really bad habit of not wanting to prune them, especially when I see all these little tiny tomatoes growing. So this one in particular, these are like spoon tomatoes, and they just grow these hundreds of tiny little spoons, tomatoes. And they are just so fun, so sweet. So I just couldn't help myself. Also with the tomatillos, like, I wouldn't say I eat a ton of salsa or anything, but growing these is probably my favorite thing. They look like my garden is full of tiny little hot air balloons floating away, and it's just so whimsical to me, all these little tomatillos. I also have lots of things in here to kind of help with pests. So like marigolds are really good to help deter pests. I've got lots of different basils. So that's lettuce leaf basil. Those are great for wraps. It's a very mild tasting basil. I've got this giant thing growing right here, and this is ragweed. And honestly, it's just a weed, and I think it's actually has pretty bad pollen. But I kind of wanted to just let this one grow because I just wanted to see the flowers. I wanted to see what happens. Everywhere else I've been kind of pulling it out. Here you can see my favorites are these zinnias. I just love these colors. It's kind of like an antique zinnia. And you can see this is a tomatillo from the other side of the trellis. So they're kind of everywhere. I've got Brad's Atomic grape tomatoes in here. Nasturtium, this little guy, I mean, look at him. I could tell you, like, I can grow a lot of things, but sometimes, you know, you can't grow everything. And I just planted a bunch of dahlias. And so I'm kind of late because I had a neighbor of mine gave me a bunch of her dahlias. And I've never grown them before, but I heard they were a member of the zinnia family. And I love them so much. So I was like, well, let's just throw them out there and we'll see what happens. You can see I've got some pretty big tomatoes growing on this side. I've got some more oregano. I really love intermixing everything because I feel like together, the different herbs and flowers, they bring pollinators, but they also help pests. So a lot of these really, like borage is great to plant with tomatoes. The marigolds are really helping out, and I have not had any pests on anything. Like I have not had any hornworms. I have not had any, well, I don't even know. No, I have had pests, I'm sorry, on my pumpkins. I had the squash vine borer, but that was in a different area of my yard, and that was really unfortunate. Anyways, so I got my polar bear zinnias over here. And then also I've got a lot of other stuff intercropped here. These are dragon tongue beans. I don't know if you can see the color. It's so beautiful on these beans. But those are getting well, those are growing well. My peppers, they were really slow to take off this year, but you know, they're flowering. So, and honestly, I couldn't tell you. My peppers, I lost a lot of the name tags I used because I put them all on popsicle sticks, and then halfway through the popsicle sticks were too wet, and then they broke off halfway, and then I don't really know what most of my peppers are. So we'll just wait until they start making peppers, and then I'll figure it out. This poor tomato, he needs to be trellised up. Obviously, you know, you just do your best. You just gotta do your best. Try and try again. Here's some more dahlias popping up. I'm pretty sure this is a pepper. Like, look at it, it's barely growing. But nasturtium, these are my favorite, and they're just so tiny. And look how fuchsia that is. Like, that is so hot pink. So beautiful there. So a lot of my beds are kind of the same, but they're all different varieties. So I have zinnias everywhere because who doesn't want to look at that when they're gardening? Like, look at the orange on these. And they just grow. This is already up to my neck. Sorry, it's getting so close. But basically, like, these trellises, and then I have 5 tomatoes on each side. And then closer to the edge here, a lot of them I have planted more of the peppers. So, like, look at this guy. I got a pepper growing there. And I got more peppers down there. Looks like those might be banana peppers, or those might, I'm not sure what those are. But then also I planted some radishes like in between. So like these ones definitely need to be pulled up. I've planted more borage, lots of oregano everywhere. Like there's basil hidden everywhere. And some nasturtiums. But then I also went through and just stuck in beans. So the beans kind of help fix the nitrogen in the soil that's being depleted from all these other plants. So I planted some pole beans. These are more dragon's tongue. And so I've just kind of planted more in there. And like I said, I have 40 tomato plants in my front yard. And I'd probably say there's a good amount of varieties. There's probably 20 varieties because I tried to plant 2 of each variety. Now these guys, I have more dahlias growing in, so I don't know if they'll actually spill out this year. That's not really the kind of flower they are, but I needed something, and that's just what we went with. Now this is my cattle panel trellis, and it's just my most favorite thing. So as you can see, and sorry, yes, my garage is open and I've got 4 kids, and honestly my yard is the cleanest it's looked in a long time. So that's just what you get when you have kids. I also just moved, so we're still moving in. But I've got 2 trellises here back to back, and I don't know if it will get full this year because this side's looking a little sad. But this right here is several morning glories. They grow so fast, but they have the most beautiful flowers. And I just love the pop of color. So a lot of the time when I'm gardening and I'm trying to figure out like what I want to put where, my like inner artist comes out, and I'm thinking of it more like a painting, and I want to see splashes of color here and there. So I've got some white zinnias and the orange and then the sherbet. Here we have, these are cucumbers. This is, I mean, it looks like a watermelon, but I did plant so many different types of melons that I'm not really sure what kind of melon it is. But these are cucumbers, and all of my friends have table loads of cucumbers right now, and mine are just now starting to take off because so much of the beginning of my gardening this year was spent on me doing all of the infrastructure for this, like building the beds and getting the soil. So I didn't get my things planted for a while. Oh wait, is that a little cucumber? Oh, there's one. It's so cute. Can you see that? That is blurry. There you go. I planted several, but my favorite is the Studio Long, and eventually I'll show you why. This is another morning glory, so I kind of wanted to do one on this side and one on this edge, kind of balance out. And are these chickens not the cutest? Oh my gosh, I'm in love with these little chickens. Now I have chickens too in my backyard, and so eventually I'll take you through that with my chickens and show you my whole setup and how you can do something like that too. These are all melons. I really have never grown a good melon. It's just not my forte, but I figure one of these days I'm gonna get it to grow. So this may not be the year, but even if I can get a little bit of growth happening, then that would be amazing. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear me right now because somebody's mowing their yard, which is great. I am all for that. So we'll just see how the rest of this video goes, and if you can't hear me, then I just won't do it. I also had to pause because a neighbor friend came by, and it was a little girl, and I don't know, I had to give her some attention. But anyway, so I'm not sure what pepper this is growing, and this one might be the same, but it's awesome. They like grow upside down. These are all, these are more radishes. Some of them are growing, some of them went to seed, and look how beautiful these flowers are. Like, I'm not even mad about it. So if it gets too hot, they'll start making seeds, and then you're really not getting a radish anymore. I got more beans here, lots of beans. These are my favorite types of tomatoes, the ones with all the folds and crevices. And look at this one, so many little pears on this one. I think that's a yellow pear. But I believe this one's called the mushroom basket. So it's my first year growing that one. I tried a lot of new varieties this year. I can't remember what those ones, I got a lot of leaf curling going on over there. It's been extremely hot, but that's okay. And then I've got these beautiful purple peppers. Comment if you want to know the names of certain things. So I got more zinnias over here. I've also got down here my ultimate favorite thing, Aunt Molly's ground cherries. If you've never had a ground cherry, they taste like a pineapple-y tomato, and they come in a husk and they fall on the ground, and then they're delicious. I will go over that more too, but they kind of look like the tomatillos. And then these, yes, they're dandelions, and I put them there. They are pink dandelions, and when they flower, I will show you that too. And then here's what we got going in this last bed. This is not really a great trellising system. I mean, I think it can be. I can't remember what it's called right now. It's just the weave. Sorry, it's like a weave. But I barely have a weave going right now. So I'm just kind of making do. But again, I have several peppers planted up here. These are more of my paste tomatoes, or my determinate tomatoes, which they have a determined height they get to, which is why I wasn't trying to find a huge trellis. But also I've got a couple pots here, cosmos, rosemary, this cute little dwarf sunflower. And then again, I got my favorite tomatoes, these blueberry cream. I'll tell you more about those on a tomato specific video. But see, these are a lot of my Romas. So I got Romas, and then the cream sausage paste. Those are wonderful. I have all of these growing. These are a flower, and I couldn't tell you what it is because I grew it in a milk jug and I forgot to label it. But this is Mandarin lemon balm. Smells like heaven. A lot more basil. And here I also threw in mullein. So next year it's going to grow tall spikes of yellow flowers, which will be great to dry out. And then I've also got these beautiful sunflowers that are now close to 6 feet tall. So they're just looking wonderful. And then you can kind of see over here, I started a little bit of a fruit guild. It's kind of like a fruit tree. This is a peach tree. We did get like 25 peaches this year. They were the best peaches I've ever had. But I'm also planting it with comfrey, lavender. I have more lemon balm. There's calendula in there. Some echinacea coneflowers. There's some chamomile. And I did put some more dahlias around here. So this kind of helps deter pests. So I don't have to try and, you know, have peaches that are eaten up by everything. Also over here, I have a couple snapdragons. This is a fig tree. I've never even had a fig, but I think I would love them. So we're gonna grow them. Morning glories. I'm gonna come out tomorrow morning and see if some of the morning glories, like this one, should bloom. And it's a beautiful, like pale pink with pink stripes. But this is full of red Chinese noodle beans and also my son's spit watermelon seeds. So sometimes you can grow things even when you don't want to. So I've got red Chinese noodle beans growing up this trellis. And then I had a ton of leftover zinnias. So I just kind of threw them over here. So my phone died again last night. So I'm out here this morning and I just kind of wanted to wrap it up. I wanted to say thank you for watching this far and kind of seeing what I've got going so far in our garden. I plan to take you on future videos, the how-tos, tips and tricks for different types of vegetables, things that I've learned, things that I've failed at. But I want to end you also with a little glimpse of the morning glories that opened this morning, and they're just so beautiful. So I wanted to show you. So I planted them at the beginning of my cattle panel trellis, and you can see how beautiful they're opening up. It's almost iridescent, some of them. So I've got them going up this way. Here's another one. And then I planted a couple different ones on this side, and this one's already giving me this beautiful pink flower. So again, thank you for your support. I know these videos might suck at first, and I apologize for that, but I'm gonna keep uploading, and I just know that eventually you might find something that could be useful. Have a good one, bye.
If you like my mommy's garden and you want to learn more, like and subscribe.